Hi, I'm Renee Mackey and I'm the project developer at UPT Digital. UPT Digital is a games and software development class at Unlimited Paenga School in Christchurch. Now, before the boys launch into the projects, I'm going to give you some background on why we're here and how we go about doing things and how we're transforming our future today. Now, the bottom line is we believe growing our IT industry and focusing on our IP is the best case scenario for building New Zealand's economy. While the IT industry is crying out for more talent, the number of people taking up an IT study path is declining. We are not moving fast enough to find solutions. Now, there are a few key points that we've learned during our 18 months of development, and they are, A, you get a much richer result when you have a diverse team, and B, it's difficult to attract a diverse team of people because, quite frankly, our image sucks in the IT industry. This problem needs to be tackled from the ground up because we need a solid foundation on which to build and sustain this industry. So, what can we do to help grow this industry? What do you do when you're too young to party and you're too young to drive, you're too old to play with toys? Well, almost. Historically, we have books, authors, writing stars. Hunter S. Thompson, the inventor of gonzo journalism. Bit of a rock star writer. He has a huge cult following. He's a pretty cool guy. And then we have music, audio, rock stars. The Rolling Stones. They've sold millions of albums and have probably done more gigs than these guys have had hot dinners. And I'm sure there aren't too many people out there who haven't dreamed about becoming a rock star at some point. And it would be fairly safe to say that most people don't have posters of politicians in their bedrooms. Rock stars take you on an emotional journey filled with passion and raw energy. Rock stars are pretty cool. And then we have film, movie stars, Hollywood, Wellywood. Movie stars take us on a visual journey. You can observe extraordinary things that you probably wouldn't experience in your day-to-day life. So we have writing stars, rock stars, movie stars. They're all very desirable roles in our society. People want to be those people. People want to know those people. They're cool. They're creative. Every year, thousands and thousands of people embark on a journey to achieve that status because it's cool, because it's fun, because you have the potential to earn a lot of money. So, what is the next step? What is the next evolution? Well, the answer is dev stars. Dev stars are today's rock stars. We need to change people's perception of IT. Dev stars need to be the new black. For the first time in history, these guys have the power to create immersive worlds. These guys have the power to create interactive environments, social environments. These guys have the power to work when they want and where they want. Their clients can be face-to-face or they can be on the other side of the world. For this generation, location is no longer an issue. And with all these barriers out of the way, being a dev star in New Zealand is a pretty attractive lifestyle choice. So, when you're not old enough to party or drive or venture out into the real world to enjoy different experiences, these guys do have the power to create their own virtual realities, limited only by their imaginations. They can be the hero or the villain, and they can hang out with their mates, even in bars, and their friends can be anywhere in the world. But it's not all fun and games. Now, usually when you hear that, you think, oh, well, there's always a downside to everything. But if you're a Dev Star, it simply means you have choices. You're not limited to the entertainment genres. You can also make applications, tools that can help us become more productive. Windows Phone Marketplace is the new lemonade stand in 2011. Microsoft have made it incredibly easy for students to learn to become developers and to learn the craft with industry standard tools such as Visual Studio and Expression Studio. And the purpose of UPT Digital is to provide the scaffolding necessary to encourage and support people to engage in a higher level of education and careers in IT. New Zealand has not got, nor will it have in the foreseeable future, enough skilled IT teachers to cater to the needs of the industry. So our challenge was clearly defined. We had to come up with a model that would support learning in the diverse roles of games and software development, and that model needed to work for a facilitator who wasn't necessarily an expert in any of those fields. And as luck would have it, I was highly qualified for the job, having years of experience in not knowing any of this stuff. So my colleagues and I set about building a model that even I could manage. And this is our solution, the UPT Digital Pod. Quite simple, really. At the centre, we have project facilitators, and the project facilitator is essentially in charge of managing the pod. So they're not teaching, they're managing the pod. And in the next circle, we have the development teams and individual projects. And they are the core parts of the UPT Digital class, whereas the people in the freelancers circle can be in any class, in any school, in any country. The development teams and the individuals liaise with the freelancers to get assets for their projects. And as you'll see when the boys present. And in the outermost circle, we have our all-important industry mentors. They're our support network, our lifeline, people like you. Now, as you can see, this isn't a group of students dabbling in computer science. This is a diverse pool of people coming together to collaborate on projects. So any teacher at any school or any person in any community could use the UPT Digital Pod to support this learning. So what happens if we start duplicating these pods? Well, we end up with a bigger pool of talent to draw from, and a bigger circle of freelancers to use, and a bigger support network. Now, in our circle of mentors, we have a company called Claris IT, and Claire McLennan from Claris comes in regularly to our class to mentor our programmers and our project managers. One of the most valuable and challenging lessons the UPT Digital students learn is how to work as part of a team. I'm sure you can all relate to that. Even students doing individual projects can pick up those skills from having to work with a team of freelancers. We use a basic form of Scrum, as you can see from the image, so each team member can visually gauge where a project is at any given point in time. We also do retrospectives and bi-monthly presentations, so the students get used to presenting to their peers and mentors and don't freak out so much when they are asked to speak at events like this, hopefully. And we have our own peer-to-peer mentoring system where students rank themselves according to skill level within their area or areas of interest. Mentors are then sought for each discipline and posted below. So by looking at the board, everyone in the class knows where to go for help if and when they need it. And the project facilitator can easily gauge which areas need the most support. For example, we had a lot of students at number 3 for 3D modelling, so we knew we had to get some industry support in that area. And we got people in from NatCo to do some workshops with the students. In a school, the group is always going to be transient. And because of this, we have students of all skill levels and all ages coming into UPT Digital, and our mentoring system is absolutely crucial to the survival of the pod. The knowledge needs to be shared. The knowledgeable need to be mentoring the less knowledgeable. Industry mentors, like our first mentor and one of our greatest supporters, Mark Finch, who was at SDE in the graphics group at Microsoft Research in Redmond, Claire McLennan at Claris IT, Manfred Friedrich at AdScale, Peter Jones at Intergen, Matthias Veloso, aka the Velocinator at Microsoft, Mark Billinghurst and the team at HitLab New Zealand, Cerebral Fix and Stickmen Studios, Designer Tech and Baldwin's Intellectual Property. All these people and companies are helping to transform our future today. Now the boys can show you some of these ideas in action.
Hi everybody, I'm the boy with the rubber ducky, or the title I much prefer, Tris. I would like to demo a game for you that I've been developing over the last few weeks for one of our three sponsors, Designer Tech. Designer Tech is an IT company that provides solutions for IT-dependent businesses. They provide a number of solutions such as network solutions, software solutions, hardware solutions, and many other helpful solutions. When I was developing this game, I was solely using Visual Studio and XNA Game Studio. This was great because if I wasn't sure about a line of code, I could simply use IntelliSense. This was far more handy than you would think. Let's get started. So when you start the game, you're approached with a main menu. I started to make a normal menu and thought it was dull and boring, so I would make an interactive menu. Now there is an instruction screen, but we won't go into that. So as soon as you stand on the play platform and press X, you're at the level selector screen, and I will start, of course, at level 1. I apologize if he dies. A few points to note: this object to our right is a CD that you have to deliver to my lucky end. Sorry. You should. I apologize if he dies. So the object to the right is a CD or a project or a solution that you have to deliver to the end client. You shoot this nice bullet in either direction. There aren't any enemies on this level because we haven't practiced very much. Okay, but I will show you the enemies on the next level. Yeah, so, he died, ran out of time. So, anyway, we're back at the level selector, so let's see the next level. So let's click on 2. Now, if we start moving, you notice the level is a bit different. First, I would like to pick up this ammunition pack because at the start of the game you only have 2 bullets. Let's walk over this way and see what we find. Pick up the object and the ammunition pack and we'll set off on our voyage. Now, pretty quickly, you realize we have company. You have to conserve your bullets because you only have 3 now. and now he's dead. Now it's free run to the end. I will say a few quick words about the development. First of all, I started the basic player functionality, movement, then terrain collision. After that, I started making terrain generation, drawing platforms at the corresponding coloured pixels positions. Then I added an enemy, end level, and menus. At the end of all of this, I added a timer. Throughout the development of this game, I've needed a lot of help. I had two mentors, one which was a peer mentor, Jay, who's right here, and the other is Mark Finch, an experienced industry mentor from Microsoft Research. I would like to say a huge thanks to both of them. I hope you've enjoyed this demo. Enjoy the rest of our presentation. Bye for now.
Hi, I'm Jay, and I've been programming at Unlimited for a while, just over a year in fact, which is probably why UPT Digital decided that I should be project leader for the Claris project. Claris is an IT consulting company that provides clarity and insight to projects that the clients are working on. That's from their website, by the way. They were kind enough to sponsor us for this trip, so we decided we'd make them a game. After several weeks of discussion with them about what they wanted in their game, we decided on a game like Rush Hour, the famous puzzle game in which you have to get your car out of a traffic jam, but with a twist, two-player, to emphasize the cooperative aspect of Claris. When we started making it in XNA, the framework of our choice in Visual Studio, an amazing IDE, which coincidentally is by Microsoft, while I focused on programming the gameplay side of things, Maya, our texture artist, did what texture artists do and made us some brilliant textures. We tried several different methods of collision, including rectangle, where you check if any of the cars is touching any of the others, but in the end, we settled on using an array and holding what positions were full, because it's more efficient and reliable. When the gameplay half of the game was finished, we started adding in the visuals. A Claris building was added to give the player a goal, as well as getting the nice car sprites from Maya. We then added a timer and a moves counter, so players could judge how well they'd done, which adds some replayability to the game and makes it more interesting. Now these guys are going to demo it for you. Yeah, Mitchell.
Hi, I'm Mitchell Denton, one of the founding members of the team at UPT Digital. My main role is one of the core programmers, and I'm currently working on a range of developments. One of our key sponsors that have been with us from the start, as Renee pointed out, was Baldwin's Intellectual Property, who are intellectual property lawyers. Their support and sponsorship has been invaluable and enabled us to extend our opportunities and attend events like TechEd. Part of our partnership with Baldwin's was that we would develop them a game that we would like to think could be used with the idea for an inter-office relaxer or just a client stress reliever. The concept of this platform was to develop a game that you captured the ideas before they were pirated by the Ideas Bandit, which is sort of loosely based around the core work that Baldwin's does. This game was my first XNA game, so I had to employ the help of Jay and Tristan right here to give me a few tips and tricks via our peer-to-peer mentoring system. And I used one of our freelancers, Maya, to create the sprites or characters for the game. So as you can see here, this is the As you can see here, this is the gameplay, and you're playing as the wee Baldwin's bear guy there, and me, Jay, and Tristan are kindly created by Maya down the bottom, and of our heads are coming wee thought bubbles. Now, what you have to do is you have to fly the bear around and catch the thought bubbles before our wee trollface idea bandit at the top comes and gets them. And, well, the sprites that you can see there in the characters, they were all made in Microsoft Expression Blend, which is part of the Expression Studio package. And that's a vector-based graphics program, but it can also be used as a XAML editor for applications like WPF or Silverlight. And what you have to do is stop the Idea Bandit from catching the ideas, and There are 5 types of ideas, so you could have 5 different games you're coming up with. And the idea bandit has to catch 5 different types of ideas before you lose the game, which Tristan just happened to do. And, well, this game has been a massive learning curve for me and the team. And I'd really like to say thank you to Jay and Tristan here for helping me to get it done. And that's pretty much it for Baldwin's Beer.
Hey, this time I'm going to be telling you about a project I made last year when I first started to program. Blockworld is a 2D platformer with several unique features such as sticking to the roof and bullets that bounce off walls. You guys can demo it now. Actually. Yep. So when I began, I had no idea where to start. Fortunately, I was able to get the general idea from lots of tutorials on AppHub and other XNA sites. I was also supported by older students at UPT Digital who showed me new and more efficient ways of doing things that were generally easier as well. As time went on and the game got more and more detailed, I gathered a greater understanding of C#, XNA, and Visual Studio. When the game was finished, I left it alone until earlier this year when XNA 4 was released and the Windows Phone toolkit. I then saw an opportunity to reuse the idea. I decided that I would begin the game again from scratch because I had a whole lot of ideas about making the game more efficient, which is important for writing a program for limited hardware. All of the collision detection needed to be optimized, which took some time as all the previous stuff was of really poor quality, but when it was finished, it worked really well. After a week or so, I had the basic gameplay finished and decided to go on to customizing it for the Windows Phone. First, I made a new system for movement, as obviously there's no keyboard on most of the Windows phones, so I wrote some code to allow touch input. I also decided shooting was difficult for the player to do while trying to navigate a maze or jumping off a cliff, so I gave the player an aura that they can turn on and off, which kills enemies. The Windows Phone 7 version of Blockworld is going on the marketplace now. In fact, it's just pending. So if you'd like to have a look at it, you're welcome to download it. It's only $1.50.
Hey, I'm back again. This time I'd like to talk to you about one of our mentors, HitLab New Zealand. Well, HitLab New Zealand came on at the start of this year, and they've provided us with the opportunity to interact with the industry, which has been an invaluable experience for all of the team. HitLab stands for, you're going to have to wait for this one, it's quite big, Human Interface Technologies Laboratories New Zealand. And what I'll be showing you is some of the work they've been doing with the Xbox Kinect and their augmented reality software. Augmented reality, or AR as they call it, is the technology which seamlessly composites virtual content in the real world to allow users to experience the virtual content in a natural and an intuitive way. As augmented reality applications become more common, users are expecting increasingly sophisticated experiences, combining impressive visuals, interaction, and awareness of the environment. To improve the AR experience, virtual content should behave realistically in the physical environment it's placed in. Registration algorithms can calculate the pose of a given target, but they have no awareness about the environment that the target exists in. This lack of awareness can cause the virtual content to appear inside the objects or occlude objects that should appear behind them, breaking the illusion that the virtual content exists in the real world. Now, the Microsoft Kinect features a colour and infrared depth camera, which allows the capture of three-dimensional data from a scene in real time. With the transformation between the Kinect and the AR viewing camera known, the three-dimensional information captured can be used to provide the system with information about the real-world environment the object is used in. Here is an example of the setup used by the HitLab to test the software. Now, what you can see here is that car, well, it's actually a wee game they made for the application, but what they do is they use the Kinect to get a 3D mesh of the terrain you're in. So you can actually edit the terrain live by creating paper jumps or putting your coffee mug there, and you can create literally 3D virtual race courses that you can then drive these cars around. I've had a play with the software myself. It is quite fun, but it is still in early stages of development, so you wouldn't be seeing it too soon on the market. Now, what you can see there with the red lines, that's the wireframe mesh that the Kinect is generating live. And that's one of the views you can have in the game. And the ability to use the Kinect to literally create your own game environment. Once it gets developed a bit further, will bring a whole new dimension into gaming, which could see uses for military and personal use as well. There is one problem, though, with getting the Kinect data. The Kinect camera is placed directly on top of the scene, so it can't actually grab any data from underneath the object. But the software has the ability to use multiple Kinect cameras to grab reference data. So you could have 4 Kinect cameras getting data from different locations and create a very accurate, high-resolution mesh that you can use in the game or application for whatever purpose you want. Now, to use this, if you can see in the top left corner, there's the wee piece of paper at the edge of the table. That's the reference point that the Kinect camera maps the mesh to. And your viewing camera, which can be anything from a webcam to a 1080p video camera, the software will locate the reference point on that and the angles and all that, and use registration algorithms to map the mesh relative to the viewpoint you're looking from. They originally made that camera to actually be worn on your head, but they soon realized that wasn't the best idea, as if you were moving around quite often, the software isn't incredibly fast at updating, so quite often the mesh would be flipping upside down and you would have inverted gravity like on Portal. And that's all for HitLab.
Hey, it's me again, and this time I'm discussing an engine, or XNA library, that I've been working on. About 2 months of work's gone into it, and it was a bit of a surprise when Renee asked me to present it here, because it was still missing quite a few features, and it was a bit buggy, so I had to start fixing it almost immediately. I started work on it when I decided that I'd had enough of rewriting some of my classes, and almost every time that I started a new project, or importing them from an old one. I also needed an easy way to manage screens within games, so I thought I could include that as well. I searched for and completed several tutorials online about the basics of creating an engine in XNA. Using Visual Studio, I gradually pulled together ideas from various projects and tutorials, like the screen management tutorial on Microsoft's App Hub website. I also talked to one of my friends, Matthew Smith, who'd made his own engine in one of the previous versions of XNA, 3.0 or 3.1, I think. When the engine was at a stage where it was worth adding into a game, I began creating an RTS/tower defense game. As I was creating the game, I refined, removed, and added features to the engine to make it easier and more efficient, which was surprisingly easy, as Visual Studio 2010 automatically updates the references to the engine or DLL, so I didn't need to manually update everything, which is a bigger help than you may think, as it means you don't have to continually switch between projects.
I'm back. I also have an exciting new demo to show you.
This game is a game not made for a client, but for me. It's called Cowscoo. Please note everything you see here is purely work in progress. This game is a platformer game starring, surprise, surprise, a cow. Let's get started right now. This here is a menu, fairly normal, 2 buttons, play and quit. Unless I want to end the demo right now, I will press the play button here. Now, as usual, there's a level selector. Click on each number to start on the corresponding level. Now, we're in an interesting environment. If I go over here, you see there are all sorts of different platforms. Why, there are blue ones, and green ones, and red ones. But much more importantly is what they do. The blue platform is my base class in development, and also a basic platform that does, well, absolutely nothing. Now this next one is a green platform with the pretty left and right arrows on it. This moves left and right to make for a more challenging environment. Then the fire platform. Oh, first bounce, you're perfectly safe. And on the second bounce, the platform disappears. Let's get back into the level. Now, right here, you see an enemy floating around. You can't shoot, so you have to get past it safely. Now we will go to the end while I say a few quick words about developing it. I spent one night developing the idea as a sort of doodle jump on its side. Then I spent the night on the cow sprite. I started adding things bit by bit. I initially used random terrain generation by feeding the void 3 numbers, 1 for red platforms, 1 for green, and 1 for blue. It then worked it out as a percentage and placed platforms randomly with limits. Then I found it was very glitchy and lacked control, so I switched to loading the page from an image. This is less efficient, but it has infinitely more control. After the terrain, I did collision, added scoring, added an enemy, and finally a menu. As I needed in my design and tech game, I have needed help to make it all work because I'm feeling new to this. So I have again Jay right here and Mitchell as well here to thank for that. Thanks, guys. My future plans for this project is to pad out a story, more levels, more enemies and platforms. Then after this, I will port it to Windows Phone 7. I hope you've enjoyed this demo. See you soon.
Hey, I'm back again. Now I'd like to talk to you about a personal app of mine. Some of you may have heard of an application called Microsoft Flight Simulator X. Well, I'm a bit addicted to that, and I basically spend all my spare time playing on that. But one thing I noticed when I was flying, I didn't feel like I was getting a really immersive experience. And I thought, well, how could I get a more immersive experience? I know. I love crunching numbers, so I thought, how about I get shitloads of numbers delivered in front of me and let me crunch them out while trying to fly my plane at the same time. It is harder than it sounds. So what I thought is I could get a bunch of different screens to deliver me data in various ways, like getting real-world maps data from Bing Maps, displaying it in a Star Trek UI that's completely useless and looks amazing, or displaying it in a simple, easy-to-read Windows form. Now, some of the technologies I used in this were Windows Presentation Foundation, the Bing Maps SOAP services, and also Microsoft Expression Blend, yet another project of the Microsoft Expression Studio series. With WPF, I created some of my UIs like this one. Now, this is my Star Trek-inspired UI that's completely useless and looks amazing. Only a few of those knobs and dials up there actually work, but it still looks really cool when you're flying and your mate walks in and goes, "That's amazing, mate." But I got this idea from a wallpaper I saw on a website. I have to thank the guy Zane at Z Animation for making this, but some of those dials up there do actually work, like the 4 circles either side at the top. They display your engine revolution and throttle percentage. And also some of the data down the side do display information as well, but that's really about it, so it's not that useful at all. Now, the way I created this is I imported that image as a background, and I started adding components as overlays. I soon discovered a small problem, though. When you've resized the window, the components don't resize, yet the background does. So you'd go and resize it to an amazing 1080p, but you'd have all the buttons in a tiny wee corner at the top, which sort of broke the illusion of an amazing Star Trek UI. Because Star Trek, you can totally resize your screens. But another UI I also made was this one. Now, that looks pretty plain, but when you're flying in Flight Simulator, the terrain they have is actually photorealistic in there. So in that window there that is now telling me I can't get any data, it will display photorealistic data from Bing Maps. But there were a few problems using the Bing Maps SOAP services to develop that, so as always, I went to Mark Finch at Microsoft Research in Redmond. He's amazing. And he helped me sort out all my problems, and he's currently putting me in contact with a Bing Maps expert from Microsoft Research who I'm hoping to use and create a more efficient system for getting the URIs which I use to display the image, and also adding in functional controls so you can have zoom, rotation, and also custom waypoints on there as well. And as you can also see on top, there's my standard plain Windows Form UI. Usually when I'm flying, I end up going back to that one because it's the one that'll tell you the information you need to know. This app has been a massive project for me, and I hope to have it released by the end of the year as early beta testing, but don't think that's going to happen. This project has also been a massive learning curve for me because, well, when I dove into this head first, really having no idea what I was going to come out the end as. So I dove into it head first, having no idea what the result was going to be, and it's slowly come together. I've learned a lot of stuff about programming. I've learned a lot about UPT Digital, about how our peer-to-peer mentoring system works, and it is amazing. And I really just want to say thanks to these guys here for being able to make this app possible. And that's about all for my Flight Simulator app. If you're into Flight Simulator, go onto the UPT Digital website and there will be a link somewhere to this app. I'll hopefully post a latest build soon, so if you're into Flight Simulator, go on there, download it please. I'll love you if you do.
Okay. Oh wow, this game is a game I started making last year using the Unity game engine. This really was challenging, and for a short while there made me believe in superstition of programming. I had a wonderful 5-person team that we called Guava Games. There was me, the programmer, Francis, the level designer, Rowan the modeler, Elliot the concept artist, and Jack the project manager. This really showed me just how challenging working in a team could be. This game was based around the Greenpeace versus Japanese whaling conflicts. It really was only just bits and pieces, and it was never finished because I lost it along with my old laptop in the February earthquake, but that's okay. So I just wanted to show you a few screenshots we managed to get. Yeah. So Francis, the level designer, made this map using Unity Pro, which is why the water reflections look so nice. Another screenshot of the map, and this is a screenshot of our cyborg whale that you would control if you were on the Japanese side. It was supposed to be a genetically engineered super monster. A few more shots, C4 on its back, but suicidal. There's a missile, some boat or something will fire. There's a gun mounted on a boat or the back of a whale, another gun, and that's about it. Hold on. Okay. We originally wanted to make it a LAN multiplayer game to play with your friends if we ever finished it. We had pages of ideas for units. It was to be a cross between Plants vs. Zombies and a real-time strategy game. I think it really caught some attention when we took it to, I know you'll be shocked, NZIDIV last year. People were intrigued by a feature we got ready for show, which was exploding whales. You were a hippie whale riding against another player who was a robotic whale genetically engineered by the evil whalers. Even though it wasn't the best experience working on the game, it really was one to teach me how to program.
I'm back again. This time I'm showcasing the UPT media player. It's really buggy at the moment and in quite an early alpha stage. As the name suggests, it plays media files, although only audio at the moment. It's very lightweight, and I also experimented with multi-threading, so loading your media library is faster. I started on this project because I'd been reading the XNA 3.0 recipes book, and I come across a chapter on the built-in XNA method, Get Visualization Data, which gives the frequency and pitch data of a playing song. I was also interested in making a simple search algorithm, and a media player was an easy way to combine these two ideas with a search method to find songs and the Get Visualization Data method to show a visualization. I don't like that word much. I experimented with several different ways of searching, but I decided to use a dictionary in the end because the key value pairing was perfect for searching. Unfortunately, this makes it heaps harder to only find a partial match. At the moment, the media player is nowhere near finished, but it does everything it needs to, such as, wait for it, playing media. The search algorithm works exactly the way it's meant to, but you can only find songs you know the name of. The visualization also works, but I think I could make it look a bit nicer and maybe add a few more. I also had an idea for making a playlist the other day, and I think I might add that next.
This was a far-fetched idea we had at the start of the year for Windows Phone 7. We looked at how the modern teenager communicates. We figured out it was most commonly by texting each other.
And we thought, what if there were a way to communicate secretly, because what average teenager doesn't like secrets, with colour and excitement? So we got a concept together about this idea. Here are a few drawings Renee has done of what we envision Simbadonkey to be. Okay, and this first image is basically just a splash screen. After this, you can go into a create template screen, which is the third on the top. So basically the idea was you touch each letter or symbol and assign it a color, which is in the next screen, and the color picker, and a symbol. And then in the next screen you can see it when it has all of the template items with it. Then you can assign it an ID, which is like your secret passcode, and a group. After that, you can send it off to all of your friends, post it on Facebook, and if they have the right template, they can decode it. Oh, if you're wondering about the name, it came about because we wanted a name that was funny, we could make a logo for, was catchy, and most importantly, stood out on the App Store. Because what if we called it text to icon or text to pic? It doesn't seem to make much of an impression. The reason Simatonki specifically is because we wanted to tell the user it was something about symbols, then we just had to think of two animals. In this case, a bat and a donkey. Like a great workflow organizer's name could be Workflow Wombanger. You can use that. For this project, we have been having a phenomenal amount of help from Mark and Redmond, Microsoft Research. He is also always around to email your development programs. Thanks for listening. I hope you enjoy the rest of our presentation.
Right, so that's pretty much it from us. We're not early, you've just got your watches wrong. If anyone is interested in becoming a UPT Digital mentor, come and see us or check our website at www.uptdigital.com. We'd love to hear from you, and we're always looking for sponsors too. We'd like to thank Microsoft and Designer Tech, Claris IT and Baldwin's Intellectual Property for making it possible for us to be here today. Coming to events like this is a great learning experience for the team. So thank you very much.